Nero came up with shaved ice in
Shaved ice.
27 BC.
Yeah.
How much crap research did you have to do to go out and find that?
I had a secretary with me for about 13 years. She goes down to Warsaw, Kentucky, and I'm helping her. I sold the business, the Rainbow business. Mm-hmm. I sold it off to the managers that were running the stores, and no one was hiring her because she was my proprietary secretary, whatever, for the region. So I helped her get in business with a video store or whatever. So I bought out a video store. Video stores are going out of business.
Blockbuster Light.
Yeah. Well, they were
Family Video or something.
Yeah, they were going out of business in Cincinnati, but Warsaw, Kentucky was just now getting VHS tapes. So you had to go back in time to get it. And so she got down there and she was doing great. And I said, you got to get food in here, because this thing is going to die. And she started bringing food in. I went down there one day. Someone walked in, said, I'll take a shave ice. She did it. And the guy walked out the door. And she goes, I love that because it's so economical. And I was like, what? And she goes,
"You can make some money?"
Yeah, I can make some money. Are you kidding me? I said that was fast because I was a milkshake guy. Obviously, you can tell I'm a milkshake guy.
I'm an ice cream, milkshake, shaved ice, burgers, whatever you want to give.
Yeah. Anything with hydrogenated vegetable oils, I'm in. I'm actually not a shaved ice guy, if you can believe it. I'm just I don't have to like it. Actually, they say that's a secret. I don't drink coffee and I don't like shaved ice, and I'm like, but we're selling a lot of those things, so I'm fine with that.
So you're not Warren Buffett. Buy stock in what you love.
Yeah, I'm not that guy.
Okay.
I'm the guy. So,
okay.
Because the Kona business is not about the shaved ice. It's more about the community. It's more about the franchisee. It's that give back. It's that feel good. It's community is what it comes down to. So I talk to every single prospective franchisee that gets to a certain point in our business. They cannot get a Kona truck unless they've talked to me. Period. And I'm not talking to them to preach to them. I'm listening. And I better hear the words family or community or give back or something along those philanthropic lines or those cultural lines. I will tell you this. I have walked away from more people that it was probably May or June of this year, is talking to a guy looking at his application, go down to his financials, crazy wealthy. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I said that. So what are you doing? What are you doing here? And he goes, oh, well, I sold a rental house. I don't want to put the money in the market because I think the market's going to tank. So I'm just looking for a place to park the money. I'm out. And I said, listen, I that sounds great. I'm really happy for you, but this is not the business for that because I want you on the truck. I want you the face of the truck. I want you in your community. I want you making relationships. I want you giving back to the schools. I want you giving back to the little leagues. This is what we're about. We're not about, I want to park some money somewhere.
So that perspective, that's a long-term growth model.
Yeah. There's so many inherent flaws in that, but at the end of the day, it works. The inherent flaws is we'll get somebody that doesn't have the business acumen. Like, that guy that was parking some money, probably never would have had to talk to him because he would have figured it out, got somebody in there and da-da-da. It would have been a fine business for him, a good passive income. But that's not what the community would not have been as good wherever he was buying his truck as a little family or somebody that's like, my kids have grown. I want to give back to the community. I want to make this place better because I'm so grateful to live here. This kind of stuff. You're right. It's so accurate. It's a long-term move. It's been 15 years. We have 1,450 franchises in 49 states. I got about 25 up in Canada, one in Mexico. I'm not sure where they're at. Can't find them with radar. There's so many jokes going on about that.
They're burning up more gas than anybody, Tony. How often do they come across them? I'm not even going. Let's stay away from this shit.
Yeah. Anybody heard from the Mexico guy?
This
no.
can't be good. Leave him alone.
Yeah, don't touch him.
Does the tracker? Do you still see the trucks alive? Is it still moving?
Yeah. Please, God, just don't end up on CNN.
So this is fascinating to me because I love these conversations, and that's what I think about this podcast. Like, these aren't interviews. These are conversations. And what I love is this is intriguing for me because if you're honest, and I think you're like a guy that's just, but when did you connect with It's About the Community? Because it couldn't have been in the beginning.
No, it was about money.
When did that happen?
It's about survivability.
Yep.
So you got to survive first. And I'll say that to people. Listen, it's culture, it's community, but understand one thing. We got to make money first because if you don't make money, we can't continue. So let's make sure we have a business model that makes money. But I started in 2007. I was just, whatever. So the first truck rolls out June 21st, 2007. We're just busting at the seams. It's going crazy, Northern Kentucky. I've got three 3 or 4 prototypes that show up. I get a guy over here. I said, once you try it for a while, go over to Kenton County or Campbell or whatever. Just don't interfere with my area. And he goes out there and he starts killing it. I'm like, we're on to something here. And then 2008 hits.
You know what I just realized? You know how I said he had 10 years on us, but I just came to the conclusion. I knew this. It was from me talking to – I interviewed the Big B Coffee CEO 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Awesome guy. And so he's the one who has 10 years on. Started out as a barista and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I just realized I started the real estate company a month after he started his. I think we have some catching up to do. We're going to learn something here today, Dave. We're going to learn something here today.
Big B guy's pretty smart.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he's pretty smart.
I'm just trying – but that's – you know what I've learned is I don't care about monetizing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Selfishly, this is for me too.
Yeah.
We're going to create great content.
Right.
There's a ton of people that are going to hear this.
Yeah.
I'm probably benefiting more than anyone.
Yeah, listen, if we can have a conversation and someone can listen to it, I mean, how fantastic is this? Someone can listen to it and be inspired and do something better. Oh, my gosh, then my job is done 100 times.
They don't need all the college classes. Man.
Right, they don't, brother.
There you go. So so we go back. You guys are killing it.
Yeah.
So and 2008 comes.
Yeah.
Jesus, do we have to go back to that time?
Oh, my God.
Lay it out to us. Tell us what that did to your business and what happened.
So the business model was I always say the Roger Bannister 4-minute mile. If I could get neighborhoods up to $1,000 a night, I got 210 selling days in my season, lose 10 or 20 to weather. So I've got about 180 days to make it, get to $1,000 a night. If I can do it once, I can do it 100. I can repeat it. So we started getting to where I did this one neighborhood or one big area community or whatever. We're doing $1,000 a night in 2007. 2008 rolls around, those neighborhoods start, just cutting down. The PTAs that called me in 2007 that said, come on out and treat the whole school, they weren't calling. So I'm calling them, and I said, hey, how about we come to the school, we'll sell a couple dollars to the kids, and I'll give you back a percentage and help you guys raise money. And they're like, yes, we're in on that. Because everyone can afford, even 2008, you can afford $2 or $3. So we would come to the schools, we do a Kona Day is what we call it, and we give back to the school 20-30%. And the schools are now making $400, $500, $600, $700, in an hour. And this is the greatest little fundraiser. The kids love it, and this took off. And then the little leagues, and we were in Boone County Pee Wee football and crushed it in 2007. Crushed it. And 2008, the league was half the size. Now, we still did as well. We still did good, not as good as 2007, but we gave back actually more money the second year because you're trying to help the community, and we were making money. So that's where it was starting to. You could see we could differentiate. I've got this crazy good economics. Food costs are cheap. Service speed is fast. So I look at the give back or the whatever as a part of the business.
You know how when I was sitting in your office a couple months ago, the moment that I realized, I want to talk to this guy, here was the moment. It was touching on this same place that you went. You're like, 2008. I'm like, oh, he knew in 2008. Whatever it was, but you look back, it was an opportunity to evolve. I don't know if it felt like it in the moment, but it's like survive, figure it out, problem solve.
Right.
That's the instincts of an entrepreneur.
Right. That's the difference, man. That's
it.
That's the difference.
Because there's massive adversity we face. You face a massive problem. It's like, we're not going out of business.
Right.
We're not shutting this thing down.
Right.
We're not one of those statistics in the first 5 years, 90% of the people fail.
Right.
What do we have to do? How do we have to think different? It's painful, those sleepless nights.
Right.
But that's where your mind went.
Right. Well, I listen to the Big B Coffee guy, and I'm like, that's a smart guy. And I'm like, I don't think that entrepreneurs need to be as smart as him. I think they just need to be more resilient, and you can't quit. And that's at the end of the day. I had about $400,000 on an equity line. And I was like, all right, buddy, I got to sell these snow cones one at a time. And we went to work, and it worked, and we kept pushing. We sold the trucks, franchisees. What was the magical part about 2008 was the layoffs. I had access to better quality people than I did I wasn't selling in 2007 really, but in 2008, I'm getting some calls from some really, and they're still with me. Mark Kenny down in Bartow County, Georgia. This is a great guy. Got laid off at his job and put his last $20,000 down. This is such a great story because he sends the $20,000 in, to the internet or whatever, and his wife goes, "You just got scammed." And so he goes, "No, we didn't. No, we didn't." And he goes, so he drives up to Northern Kentucky to pick up his truck, and she's sitting beside him, just on his ear, just like, you got scammed, you got scammed. She pulls into my little warehouse and she goes, I told you, we got scammed. So he picked up like truck number 22 or something. It was my dad's first day. So I said, Dad, can you train this guy? He goes, oh, hell yeah, I can train the guy.
FOF, coming in hot, man. Founder of the Founder.
He had so much energy. And, 30, 40 minutes later, he goes, you put some ice in here. You push that button, ice comes out, put some flavor on it. And it's real easy, Mark. Push this button and go. And so Mark goes down. We talk almost every day. About 20 days into it, he hits a toy festival or something, whatever it was. He did really well, and I was like, I'm done. Haven't talked to Mark since then. No, I'm just joking. But Mark's got 6 or 7 franchises now.
All you had to do then was just run the Kona Ice business and just give him the platform.
Yeah.
See, that's what's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So he's that guy. He's that same entrepreneur-minded person.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's had challenges. He just doesn't call you with them.
Yeah, the entrepreneur is different from the small business owner.
Talk about that.
Well, what I love about the franchising business, because not everyone's got it soup to nuts. They don't have, is that an expression you can use?
Yeah, it is. And so I think, soup to nuts thing, it's like, hey, from beginning to end,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is a business owner can probably buy the Kona truck. Right. You had to be the entrepreneur.
I'm the entrepreneur.
Yep.
I develop the systems and processes.
Yep.
He comes in, follows the plan, and he helps me morph the plan. You've heard all the stories with McDonald's when they, the guy, the Cincinnati franchisee came up with the fish fillet. Yep. And I love those stories because my franchisees have added to my company unbelievably. There's a young lady right now. I sent her a text yesterday because she came in and taught. I had 75 franchisees in the building for the last 2 days. We call it master's class. They come in and learn, above and beyond what they learned. And she comes in and she just crushes it. She's action planning everybody, doing all these things. And all I text was, thank you so much for adding to this company. And she goes, thanks for the opportunity. And that's the give and take of having a franchise with 1,400 franchises. Man, here they come with ideas. Now, granted, not all of them are good ideas.
And we don't have to talk about that because they wouldn't want to hear about themselves.
Right. I'm not going to use names.
No, but you know what? Here's what sucks about this is if any of those 1,400, when it comes out in a couple weeks and you share it, and if any of those 1,400 people that aren't performing the way they want to, if they can't handle that self-awareness, they probably did the wrong thing.
Yeah, they did the wrong thing. Listen,
right.
It's happened. It happens.
Yep.
It's the 80-20 rule for that matter. I don't know, but it's just people come in. It's more work than they thought. It's more this. It wasn't what they thought. There's a lot of you get this inertia going where our culture is so good. People just get attracted to it. I'm the personification. I'm a normal guy. I talk normal. I've got all these webinars out there, on my website where people just are like, "Oh, I just love Tony Lamb." I'm like, you probably wouldn't if you knew me, but
that's why they do.
But they do. They come in. They're like, I trust him. He's a normal guy. I'm very transparent. I'll tell you when I'm, when what's working, what's not working. Sometimes too much. But
you're the face. See, this is why, because they have, there's an affinity, man, for guys that do what you've done that have built this platform because you allow somebody who's a business owner that maybe didn't have the final 3 pieces, but guess what? They didn't need to.
Yeah.
And they get to use it. And you built this thing and gave them an opportunity, and they had to pitch you, and you believed enough.
Right.
No, man, there's an affinity because without you, they don't have it.
Right. And you got to figure out what the cost is. A lot of franchises charge a lot. I don't charge a lot.
What's it cost to?
Well, it's $125,000 or something for the truck, the territory, the training, everything, whatever the number is. It started out at 90. I think it's 137 now or whatever with whatever. But
if Mark was going to,
yeah.
If I said, "Hey Tony, I'm giving up my whole life. I'm cashing in the real estate thing.
Yeah.
I've bought into Kona Ice.
Yeah.
Where's the one territory in your mind right now? Is there one left in the U.S.? Is there one?
It's Texas or it's Florida.
Okay.
It's Texas is so business friendly. It's unbelievable.
I was down there last year. I drove the state.
Yeah, people get in business, no problem.
So where would I go? So if I'm like, okay, I'm going to invest $137,000. Who needs to move where?
Florida. I go to Florida. If you listen, we've had people move. I got 30% of my people last year before last had to move to get territory. So
So I'm talking. So this is happening.
This is happening all over the place. So, but Florida is nice because you get a longer season. If you take a real aggressive person down to Florida, they'll kill it. Because
that's what I'm saying. I want you to tell me what Tony would do because I know I'm a guy.
Yeah.
That I'd do what Tony did.
Yeah, I would. If it was me, I would go do some interviewing on some franchisees and who's kind of 1 foot out. And I would camp right in beside him I had a real sharp guy. It's like he said, I want to move to such and such state. I don't want to give his name out, but I want to move to such and such state because so-and-so was getting ready to retire. And he moved in there. He got one truck, got right up beside the guy, became friends. The guy sold out to him. Now he's got 5 or 6 trucks, and he's crushing it.
What would I make? So if I invest in me, let's just say I'm Tony.
Yep.
Or what would Tony, if Tony didn't own Kona, but let's say your brother started Kona.
Right.
Right? And you said, all right, man, he's so whatever. I should have done it, but I didn't. But I want to invest, and I'm going to $137,000 investment.
Right.
You go to Florida.
Yeah.
What would let's say the first 6 months you're getting off the ground.
Yeah.
Month 7 through month 18. What would Tony make? What would you make?
You're going to make a couple $100,000 gross, and you're going to get home with little. It depends on if you're servicing debt. A little more than half of that.
What about the second year? What would Tony do?
Well, you got to buy more equipment.
Okay.
I mean, truck maxes out at something like that. My older brother, is in the Kona business. I got him in the business in 2011, I think.
So 5 trucks, crush it. Tony has 5 trucks. You make $350 to $400K.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have some fall off.
I had 3 people at this master's class come up to me and said, I made $1 million this year. They grossed $1 million. You get home with half. They're like, I made $1 million this year. They're like, don't tell anybody. I'm like, I don't care.
I just won't tell them your name. I'm going to tell you the success story. Kudos to you, man. Without you doing this, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that's what I love about my franchisees. They're so gracious. They're like, this one guy from Tennessee is like, you changed my life. You changed my life. And he's really a great guy, and he's a hard worker, but he's got to his business to where it's a little bit passive. He's got good managers in there running it, and he's like, yeah, we did over $1 million this year.
How'd that feel?
Felt great. That's what you're going for, isn't it? Because my customer is not the little 8-year-old that comes up to the truck. My customer is the franchisee. And so I focus on that. Now, here's something I was listening to your podcast so many times. What's missing? What doesn't get said sometimes? What doesn't get said sometimes, the nuances of a business is, I've got 140 people on my staff. A large contingent of it's dealing with franchisees. Well, if you're dealing with a franchisee, there probably is a problem. So you got someone who's going on somebody else's territory. You got somebody cutting whatever. You just got crap. And we deal with that all the time. We got trucks that break, or this and that, and the batteries didn't fail, or the air conditioner's not turning on, or what. You got 1,400 trucks around the country, and another 800 ancillary pieces of equipment. So you got 2,500 points of sale. I got 4 guys that are in upfit or in truck support, so they take these calls all the time.
Triage, baby.
Oh, it's just triage. Just get them back to business or whatever. But here's the problem. Over time, your guys will fatigue, and they'll think this is a terrible business because all they're dealing with is the problems. So monthly or quarterly or whatever, when I have a full staff meeting, I get in there and I redirect the priority. The priority is to the franchisee. Listen, these are great franchisees. You're only hearing from, A, B, and C, and the rest of the alphabet is loving it. And you're hearing from A, B, and C because they're having this problem or that problem or this problem. Understand, the majority of people out there are just crushing it. So anytime I get an email that says, Tony, you changed my life, I pass it. I put it on the corporate box. I let them talk. I send a video team down to do an interview with them. I share that story over and over and over and over and over with my corporate staff so they understand what we're talking about here. They are helping people make a great living. And I work on my franchisees. Appreciate the staff. You don't want their job. Truck support. Like we're starting this. We launched this coffee, Traveling Tom's Coffee, and they're like, I only had 50 chassis. I had 20 the first time, and I got 30. And they're like, I had 160 people want it. I was like, how do I pick 30 out of 160? I go to truck support. Who is great to deal with when there's problems, and there's a who is the one that is not going to cause us the most pain? And they're like, not this person, not this person, not this person. So boom, off the list they go. I mean, eventually, yes, but not in the beginning. I can't handle it in the beginning. So and they don't, the franchisees don't get that. I'm like, and so I go to the franchising department. I'm like, okay, girls, who is on this list? Who is a no? Who is a yes? I didn't make the decisions myself. I took the heat because people were like, you picked your favorites. I'm like, I didn't pick my favorites. I don't care.
And even if they are, there's a reason.
There's a reason. That's exactly right. There's a reason, because it's not, don't talk to me or don't. It's just be a partner. We're in this together. It blows me away. Someone will buy a Kona truck, come in, love the business, buy a Kona truck, drive out, call truck support, and talk to them like a dog because they're entitled. And you're like, no. This is a partnership. This is your partner. This is the whole deal. And I preach to this when they come into college. I said, we are partners. This is your team. This person in creative that's doing the design, this truck support person, this fulfillment person, these are your friends. These are your partners.
So has that been a massive struggle from the franchising piece of the business? Getting people to buy into the identity? Because this goes back to when you found purpose, and I do want to touch on that. It's kind of like, so you started, you had to make money. So at what point did you identify the purpose of, the purpose is probably people and community. I'm assuming that's what it comes down to.
That's exactly right.
Where'd the community piece, when did that happen? Year 5, year 6, year 7, year 10? When you really said, okay, we're making a lot of money here, guys and gals.
Right.
Right? Got a good life. We probably need to give back and make a difference.
It was early on because of that 2008, 2009. We put that into the business model, that give back component, and they did it for business in the beginning, but then it felt so good.
Is that the shared thing then between a franchisee? What's the tough thing? That person who drives out and they start just yapping it at truck support.
Yeah.
What didn't they get? What don't they get? Because when they go out there in the community, they're not going to be as good of a community partner.
Correct.
So what is that piece? So if I ever franchise pivot, I'm concerned about it.
Yeah.
My idea is I'm going to have a leadership academy. It's slower growth.
Right.
And when I open in Dallas in 3 years, when I open in Tampa and open in Nashville, 3 states where there's no state income tax.
Right.
What do you know with massive growth? So when we open in those states, I just have this opinion, and it's a limited opinion, but, man, I got to bring them in-house for 6 months or 12 months.
Yeah.
They got to buy into this idea of pivot, because if not, they can go work at Remax, Century 21, Keller Williams, Better Homes and Garden, Caldwell Banker. It's endless.
Right.
What makes them want to be a part of this thing and tie them in?
It's going to have to be you. It comes from you. You got to relay that culture. You got to get that passion out there. People want to be associated with a winner. They want to be associated with something that it's bigger than themselves. They're passionate about it. When I cut loose on a newsletter, or I cut loose from the stage, we have a convention in February. We got 1,400 people going to show up at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center, and it is raucous. And for the first 8 or 9 years, it's dry, because I'm like, I can barely tolerate some people sober, and I can't imagine them all getting drunk on me. But I mean, they're going to the bars, they're going everywhere else, so they're getting drunk anyway. So we're going to have the bar or whatever. So, but it is raucous. But I'll get up on stage, and if I cut loose, and sometimes it's not prescribed, but I'll cut loose. It's the most. They get thrilled. They get so excited. They get impassioned. They want that from me. They want to see that I am still. 15 years later, I'm still as fired up about this business, because we've given back $130 million to communities. We're the biggest food truck company in the world. We're, these moments. I remember in 2013, Entrepreneur called us the #1 new franchise in the United States. And I made that announcement, and I always think it's a little bit pay to play, or there's always
use it, baby.
Oh, I know, and I got that information about a month before convention. I said I'm going to hold that. The Entrepreneur magazine's not coming out, so I'm going to hold it. I'm going to announce it at convention. So we have this year in review video. It goes up. There's about 1,000 people there. Video goes up, and the last thing that comes up on the video is we're #1 Entrepreneur new franchise. And I got up on stage out of that. People were losing their minds. And I missed it, because they were crying. It was so emotional, because it validated them through a third party. Because, you get a Kona truck and you tell your family, I'm going to buy a shaved ice truck. They're like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? If you need money, I'll give you money. Whatever. They just dog everybody, because no one's really happy for you unless they're benefiting from it. So my franchisees get a little brutalized, I guess, in the fact that they're saying, hey, I'm going to buy a Kona truck. I think it's getting better, because Kona's getting a little national at this point. But
validation at times, listen, if you need it, it's going to hold you back. But, there's these moments that it all comes back, all the judgment, all the stuff, and it's validation. And it's like, told you.
Yeah.
Let me just walk up here. Let me just walk by, baby. Let me just show up.
We got the number. I was the number. What was it? Business Courier. I was the top CEO in Cincinnati, large company, last year in Business Courier.